Dear listeners, welcome to my first in a series of videos on the Panchatantra, the oldest existing folk tales in the world. The origin of these fabulous collection of tales goes as far back as 3rd to 5th century BC or even earlier. Historians do broadly agree that these tales were initially composed by an octogenarian Brahman in Kashmir by the name of Vishnu Sharma. Pandit Vishnu Sharma devised these stories as a way of teaching the art of statesmanship to his princely students. He had promised the king that he will educate his 3 foolish sons in the teachings of statecraft within 6 months. Pancha means 5 and Tantra means system. The Panchatantra is essentially connected with a branch of science known as the Niti Shastra, which in Sanskrit means a book of wise conduct in life. It attempts to teach us how to understand people, how to choose reliable and trustworthy friends, how to meet difficulties and solve problems through tact and wisdom, and how to live in peace and harmony in the face of hypocrisy, deceit, and many pitfalls in life. The 5 tantras or systems that Pandit Vishnu Sharma expounded are: 1. Conflict amongst friends. 2. Advantages of friendship. 3. The story of crows and owls. 4. The loss of prophets. 5. Action without due consideration. The storytellers are sugars the pill of his sober philosophy about life. He sets story within story, just like a nesting doll, and keeps us waiting for the sequels, and so leads us on through the 5 tantras. As one story follows another, people and animals are constantly changing places, and we witness the same characteristics of love and hatred, compassion and wit, selfless courage and base cowardice, generosity and meanness. Each story has a moral and philosophical theme which has stood the test of time, and so is true even in modern times. The stories do not necessarily have a happy conclusion, as they were based on the true interactions in daily life. Historians believe that these fabulous tales were carried back with him to Persia in 570 AD by Borgia, who was the chief minister of the Persian king. From there, these tales made their way to all of Middle East and then to Europe. The tales have been translated, retold, and have been recast in some form or the other in different languages. As an example, the jackals Kalilag and Dimnag in the original stories became Kalila and Dimna by the time the stories were retold in Europe. I will attempt to retell the stories as they are in their original form in the subsequent videos. All the Sanskrit names are kept in their original form in the translation to maintain authenticity. Pandit Vishnu Sharma started telling his first story, which was based on a treatise of conflict among friends. In the south of India, there was a city called Mahilaropyam. The son of a very rich merchant lived there. His name was Vardhamanka. One night, as he lay awake in bed, his thoughts were troubled. He was thinking, even when a man has plenty of money, it is still a good thing for him to try to make more. If a man has money, he has friends and is recognized by his relatives. He is considered a scholar. In contrast, a poor man is shunned by even his family. Money makes the old young, but the young grow old for want of it. Vardhamanka came to a decision. On an auspicious day, he took leave of his family and made preparations to travel to Mathura with his wares. He had 2 oxen called Sanjeevka and Nandaka, whom he harnessed them to a cart and set out, accompanied by a few servants. After a few days, as they reached the bank of the river Yamuna, one of the oxen, Sanjeevka, broke his leg and collapsed. Vardhamanka was most distressed to see his ox in this condition, and for love of Sanjeevaka, he called a halt at the place for 3 nights. When the cart drivers saw Vardhamanka so dejected, they said to him, "Dear sir, why stay in a jungle full of wild animals for the sake of one ox, when it may mean sacrificing everything?" When he heard them say this, Vardhamanka left a couple of men to look after the injured animal and set off on the remainder of the journey. The following day, his men caught up with him. They had thought that they may come to some harm in the jungle, and so they lied to Vardhamanka and said, "Sir, Sanjeevka is dead and we burnt his body." When he heard this, Vardhamanka performed the last rites of his ox out of gratitude to his devoted servant. It is true when it is said, "He whom fortune smiles on, though unprotected, eludes destruction, but he who has luck against him is done for, even though he be well protected." Now in this very jungle, there lived a lion called Pingalka with an entourage of other animals. One day, he was thirsty and went to the bank of the river Yamuna to drink water. There he heard, from a great distance, the hideous roar of Sanjeevka. Pingalka was terrified in his heart, but outwardly, he hid his feelings and sat down under a banyan tree. His court gathered round him. Pingalka had, in his retinue, 2 jackals called Kartika and Damnaka. They were the sons of his previous minister, but had been dismissed from their posts and so always followed him at a distance. When they saw the lion returning without having quenched his thirst, they began to consult with each other. "My dear Kartika," said Damnaka, "our master went to drink water but has returned without doing so. He now sits under the banyan tree with his courtiers. What has that to do with us?" Said Kartika. And he continued saying, "The man who takes on work that was never meant for him courts destruction, like the monkey who took out the wedge from the log." "How was that?" asked Damnaka. Then Kartika told the story of the monkey and the log. Dear listeners, here we come to the end of the first part is a series of videos on the Panchatantra. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel.